Hello and welcome to episode number 17 of Four Comedians in a Hat. I am your gracious host, Mr. Vincent Opper, the most successful comic to come out of Peevely, Missouri, and I still hold that title. We have a wonderful show for you. We had one of our comics who just completely ghosted us, so he will never be on this show. Never, ever. He's a ghost now, okay? But Laura Hugg from Chicago has graciously stepped in. And so I'm going to do the introduction for Jerry, do the introduction for Wendy, and then Laura's going to do the introduction for herself, and then we'll jump right into the show. Remember, if you're on Mac or PC, click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not on a Mac or PC and you're on a different platform, go to our YouTube channel at Gateway Comedy Scene and subscribe, or you can follow us at Gateway Comedy Scene Friends on Facebook, or you can always follow us on Instagram at Four Comedians and a Hat. Let's meet our funny people. Making his second appearance on our show, second within about a month, Mr. Jerry Wahl. Everybody give Jerry a big hand. Jerry is pardon me?
I just said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Jerry is originally from Iowa, and he even admits it. Jerry has been doing stand-up in the St. Louis area for almost 7 years, and boy, is he tired. I'm feeling like dad jokes today. Jerry has featured for Uncle Larry Reeb, who is one of my comedy heroes, and John Bush.
I love Larry Reeb. Oh my God, I love him. Sorry.
Oh, that's great. We can talk Larry pretty soon. Aside from performing, Jerry has promoted some quality shows in the Metro East area of St. Louis. Once again, big hand for Jerry Wahl. Woo! And below Jerry, we have Wendy Wilkins. Big hand for Wendy. In LA, Wendy performs at the Improv, Ice House, West Side Comedy, and Flappers. On the road, she's played at the Laughing Tap in Milwaukee, the Comedy Heights in San Diego, and the Irvine Improv in Irvine, California. She is featured for Ian Bagg and Eddie Pepitone and Damon Millard, Laura Hayden, and Mary Kennedy. She has won numerous awards in her career. Once again, a big hand for Wendy. And directly underneath me, our fill-in today, who is just coming in to pinch hit, Miss Laura Hugg. Laura, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Laura Hugg. Thank you. I'm a comic in Chicago, Illinois. I've performed at Zany's and Laugh Factory and the Comedy Bar. And let's see, I run a show called The Comedy Tub, which will be opening and reopening here in Chicago in April. So if any of you are coming through, I'd love to have you perform. And I am a graduate of the Second City Conservatory. Have I won an award? I won the Mary Scruggs Award for writing in their festival at Second City. So yeah, that's some stuff about me.
Very good, very good. Real quick about Larry Reeb. My wife and I, our first date, we went to a comedy club and we saw Larry, and I thought, okay, if my wife, if my date at this time, if she makes it through this without wanting to never talk to me again, I might marry her because Larry's a little different. And Jerry brought Larry to the St. Louis area about a year ago. And so after 13 years from our first date, I got to go see Larry again. We got a picture taken with him. Fantastic guy. The screwball you see on stage, he couldn't be further from that in real life. He's just a complete gentleman. So
I remember as a kid growing up, I saw him on one of the comedy shows and he floored me. And I remembered his name. And there's so many comics that you've seen back in the day because there were so many comedy shows in the 80s. But I remember Larry's name from the instant I saw him. And ever since I've been chasing the high, I want to meet him. And I even lived in Chicago for a while and I still didn't get to meet him. He's like, it's on my bucket list to meet him because I think he's just brilliant. He's just brilliant.
Jerry's known him for years, haven't you?
We grew up in the same small town and he ran around with my uncle. And I, back when he was in high school and I was like 5-6 years old, I never heard him say a word. He was the quietest, most introverted individual. And then once he got out of school and he headed up to Chicago, and it really brought him out of his shell, and now he's the comedy genius for going on what 5 decades. So
Yeah.
He's
he
brilliant.
does a tremendous job.
I was in a sketch with him. The Pat McGann and Dwayne Kennedy, and another comic, Jim. God, his name is escaping me, and he's younger, so he'll be alive a long time to resent it. And he, I forgot his. It's escaping me right now. They wrote some sketches they were pitching for like a TV show in Chicago, and it was Dwayne Kennedy's nephew is a comedian. His name is Darius Kennedy, and so Darius and I and Larry Reeb were in all of the sketches, some of them with Pat and some of them we played 3 roommates of different generations. It was really fun, like, just the political correctness or whatever. So yeah, he was really nice. It was a fun experience.
Well, Jerry, you're going to have to make sure that Larry watches this episode because we've spent 3 minutes just talking about how great he is. So we need to get to our first question. Remember, I have this hat that I have had since Christmas, my sparkly hat. I've got the first question. Jerry, you ready for the first question?
Fire away. Let's do this.
Jerry, do you believe in ghosts, demons, and monsters?
Ghost? Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm the closer I get to dying, the more I'm hoping. Because I got some people I want to fucking haunt. We got some payback coming along the way here, but as far as I don't know, you would hope that you would hope that would all by the time I call it a day, let's just hope that I don't have any unfinished business that I can just call it a day. But yeah, sure, why not? There's definitely some things that happen that you wonder how in the world things happen. So yeah, give it a why not.
Ladies?
That's all I got, ladies. Anything?
Oh, I didn't. I thought you were going to say our name. And then, okay. So
no.
I had a sci-fi mother who believed in everything. So she believed in everything possible. And we watched everything, like anything that had anything to do with not reality. It was great. And she read every book and she loved all the Hobbits and all the Star Wars and all the Star Treks and all the Planet of the Apes and stuff. So she put it in my head very early on in my life that ghosts and monsters are real. But she completely rejected religion. So I do not believe in demons. Demons are dumb. I don't think those are real. But I definitely believe there's evil in the world. But I don't believe in demons per se. But I definitely, I've never seen a ghost. But there's too much evidence of ghosts, both photographically and story-wise. And my brother said he saw one and all this other stuff. And I've heard creaks and that kind of stuff. So I do believe in them. They just don't come hanging out with me. But, and I do believe in monsters because monsters are our inner soul working out our issues. And so monsters in real life are around us. They're just taking the shape of human form. So
nice.
There's that. But demons are bullshit. They're just stuck in with religion, and religion's bullshit. So there you go.
You just reminded me, like, I don't necessarily, I think something's going on, like, I don't know what it is, or where it is, but I did have a roommate, for a while who, had experienced, ghosts. Ooh. And one night also a lack of boundaries. And so one night I was asleep and I'd known this girl for a long time, but she was a little off, and so am I. That's probably why we ended up being roommates. And she came in, was like, can I sleep in your bed? It wasn't wasn't that kind of thing. She was like, this spirit is bothering me in it. And I'm like, and I, of course, had no boundaries. So I was like, okay, so I have boundaries now. I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't live with her again. That's the best I can do. But, and she was like, so I'm like, and then she's like, okay, I'm bringing my bedding. So she brought like her big comforter, and I was like, oh, all right. So and then she was like, she goes, yeah, this thing keeps tapping on my back like this and starts hitting me on my back. And I was like, all right, I took you at your word. No need to hit me. I get it. Right. So, and then she was like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, you just have to, I don't know if it's real, or I was like, you just have to have acceptance and try to get some sleep, And so it turns out later that, another friend came over and did some sort of spirit reading. And apparently there were these two ghosts, a teen boy and a young girl. Apparently I have a lot of experience. I don't know if I believe it, but this really happened to me. And then so the report was, yes, these spirits are really unhappy because your room is too small and they feel like they don't have enough space. And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not switching rooms, So I was like, I ended up moving into a different apartment in the front. So that worked out. But that's my experience. I forgot that. Like, wow. Yeah, there you go. I'm glad I got to come on here today because this is really healing.
Did you have to get a 2-bedroom apartment so that the ghost could have its own place? Or
I know, right?
I know. I was like, yeah, you would think that they could go outside, but I guess not, seems to me like it would be easier for them to find a new spot, but I don't know how it works. So
our house is over 100 years old. It's haunted. We know who's haunting it. It doesn't bother us so much. As far as demons go, I've watched shows where there's a demon in a house, and all I've got to say, I don't care what religion you are, just don't pick Catholic, because demons love to haunt Catholics.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but every time you watch one of these shows, finally they called their priest. Well, motherfuck, of course,
I know, right?
You're never gonna find like a good Muslim family, and then the demon came in. No, it doesn't work that way. It's always the Catholics.
Yep.
It's true. You're right. Yeah.
You can't tell us, yeah, we know who's haunting us and just let it go. We need some more closure on that. You know who's haunting you?
Yeah, we live in a house that's been in my wife's family for I think 60 years, and both of her grandparents died in here, and we're sure it's them.
Murder, suicide.
They haven't been mean or anything. They just kind of let us know they're here with whispers. Once they moved an object that. The first thing I experienced was an object moving, and it freaked me out. But yeah.
Have you noticed that all these hauntings seem to be real estate related? What is that? I mean, it's like, what's going on there? Like, property values are just so, powerful.
Jerry, are you ready? Or Wendy, are you ready for your next question?
Yeah, let's throw it at me, baby.
Okay. If you made it so big in comedy that you could start doing movies, would you stop doing stand-up for a career as a movie star?
Fuck no. No. I mean, we all know we're comics. We didn't choose this. This chose us. We don't have the option of never doing stand-up. I stopped for 10 years and it was torture. I did it for my mental health. But during that time, I still wrote jokes and I still went and tried to do other things performing, but there was never anything that was specific to stand up. And as soon as I got back on stage, which I got back in on Chicago, and I quickly met Laura when I came back to it because I was working on a TV show there. I was like, I am home again. I am back to being me. This is in my soul and my core. I would do the movie. And then as soon as I got wrapped, I would go straight to a club and do stand up or go to an open mic. I am doing this until I fucking die. I'll be one of those really old ladies on stage who they have to help. The youngins have to help to get up there. And I'm still going to be telling pussy and dick jokes at 87. And I'm still going to be trolling for younger dick. Like, I am still doing it no matter what.
Hey, that guy looks like he's about 72.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My thing is half my age. So yeah, if I'm 87, I'm gonna be going for some 50s.
Okay, So what is it about some comics like Eddie Murphy who are brilliant stand-ups get out of it and never get back into it? I don't get it because I agree with you. It's an addiction.
Well, it's not an addiction. It's who we are as people.
Yeah, I guess that's a better.
You know what I mean? It's in our soul. There's not like a musician is a musician no matter what. They're always going to play music whether they make it or not. So for someone like Eddie, I think that it was maybe he figured out he did something really good, and that was his way to get to where he wanted to go. So that's what I think. There's a lot of people who've made successes and they stopped doing stand-up, and to me it's like they in a sense were good at doing stand-up, but that was only just a leapfrog to go into what they really wanted to do, which is like, I've always been a writer and a filmmaker and all that other stuff, but I'm at my core, at my base, I'm a stand-up, and I'm always going to do stand-up.
I read an article in the early 90s on Steve Martin, and Steve Martin said in this article he wasn't a stand-up, he was acting like a stand-up. And for those of you who are not old enough to remember, Steve Martin in the late 70s was as big as it got in comedy.
Yep.
And now he wants to be a serious banjo player or something stupid like that. But yeah, he just, once he got to what he wanted out of comedy, which was a film career, he just said bye.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people like that. Judd Apatow's like that. Barry Levinson was a stand-up before he was became a director. Like there's tons of people who use stand-up as a stepping stone. It's why, like, you guys all know, when we all of a sudden an actor gets on stage and goes, my agent told me I should try this, we're just like, get the fuck off the stage.
Right.
Quit wasting everybody's time. It's not an improv class and going, hey, my agent told me to do this. I'm fucking doing what I need to do. Quit wasting all of our time, you know? So.
Well said.
What
about you, Laura?
I think so, because I think if I had a movie career, I'd be able to afford a car to get to open mics. So I'm gonna capitalize on it. Otherwise, it's been the pandemic is probably, I've not been to more open mics than I have during the pandemic on Zoom. So I look forward to joining all the 20-year-olds. So that is what I thought immediately. I was like, oh, I can afford a car, you know. But on a serious note, I don't know, I probably would still try stand up, I guess. I mean, so far I haven't been faced with the situation, but you know, I like stand up. I feel like I'd probably be better if I were more comfortable, you know, like and I mean, this is where I come to complain about everything, not complain, but craft it into something enjoyable for other people. But it's also where I come to complain about everything else in my life, you know. You can only tell your therapist so much. So, but you know, actually, so I heard an interview with Eddie Murphy. I don't know if we're allowed to mention other. Well, yeah, we mentioned everyone. Mark Maron interviewed him, and he was going to go back out on a tour, right? And then the pandemic hit. Oh. So see, he's getting back out there. You know, I think, you know, if the thrust of the act is suffering, maybe when you are successful and you have a family or people that you love, and you know, all the ducks are kind of in a row, maybe some people don't have anything to do comedy about, to poke fun at, or to whatever their angle is. But I don't think that's true for everybody. So, you know, there's one or two comics that seem like they're pretty balanced, and they're still doing it. So yeah, so I would like to think not. I put a lot of time into it, you know. I would like to think not. I wouldn't stop doing it. And I never want people to stop telling me how brave I am, and this is the only time that they do it. I can do anything else. You know, I've met people that work in the ER and they're like, you're so brave for getting. I'm like, you saved someone's life, you know. Like, you're talking about an ingrown hair, you know.
Okay, moving on. Good stuff. Laura, are you ready for your first question?
Yeah. Oh, Jerry, do you want to? Okay. And Jerry, did
No,
you?
I
Jerry didn't
agree. I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm not really a camera guy.
It's not my show. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready. Let me
Okay,
back to you, Vincent.
Laura, name a celebrity not known for looks that you find sexy.
There's a couple. John Goodman. Is he known for looks? I mean, he's not. That's not what people focus on. Also, Abe, is his name Abel Ferrar, or the guy who died like this, who was on, he was in Judging Amy, or I can't even know what. I know he was in a movie where his organs got stolen. That was memorable. He's not known for his looks. I also like, I have a list. How many do you want? Like,
Just keep going till you climax.
Okay. The last one I'll say is the guy who played Vern Schiller. His name is escaping me right now. He's what's his name? He played Vern Schiller on Oz,
Oh,
He was in the movie where he's the
J.K.
jazz.
Simmons?
Yeah, J.K.
Simmons.
Simmons,
J.K.
yeah.
Simmons?
Yeah.
I'm not saying any of these people are unattractive. They're just not, they're not in the Orlando Bloom category.
Yeah.
So sorry, just the industry was calling right away. That was John Goodman on the phone. No, I'm just kidding. He stopped looking. So I think those three ought to give you an indication that I'm not shallow.
Okay.
Well, I tend to like really oddball people, and I've even in real life I've dated some humongous, but they are, as long as you're fucking funny, I get wet downstairs. But famous people that I find attractive, I always wanted to be in a Paul Giamatti, Philip Seymour Hoffman sandwich. And I will never get that. The next sandwich would be a Bill Hader, Jason Sudeikis, but Jason Sudeikis is hot. So, but Bill Hader does it for me. I love Adam Driver, even though he runs that fine line of being hot but not hot. Like he's got that. He can go either way. So. I like, but as long as you're funny, I don't really care what you look like. I really don't.
Vincent, what about yourself?
I've always been attracted to Jerry Wahl, not known for his looks, but
Yeah.
I really,
so you go for the bloated carcass of John Candy and that.
yeah. If someone is funny, I can overlook just about anything physically.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. Perfect.
My wife just thinks that Robert Carlyle is it.
Who's Robert Carlyle?
Oh my God.
British actor. He was in the Full Monty.
Yeah.
The lead
he's
guy?
skinny. He's skinny. He looks like a drug addict. He was in that one where they go down the toilet. Where's that one?
Oh, Train Spotting.
Yeah, he's in that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I like it. That's. How about you? But who do you think is not that you're attracted to actor wise? I guess actress wise, who.
Similar to what Vincent said, the intelligence and humor will blow you away. Like, I'm showing my age a little bit, but I'm even like, you have Patricia Clarkson and Glenn Close and even Helen Mirren. They're incredibly talented. That there's certain sex appeal with the older women. I mean, the younger girls.
They're still hot as older women. That's great.
Right, but the younger girls, they seem physically attractive, but I'm worried that if they open their mouth, they're going to come off very vapid and does nothing for me whatsoever. But you know, and you know, female comedians obviously just in order to do this, especially for long periods of time, you have to have a good, strong intelligence and seeing the world from a completely different place than others. And to me, that's got sex appeal all over it. So
Wanda Sykes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, she's
beautiful
pretty.
lady.
Yeah. I'm sorry, she's too pretty. You're wrong. That's what. That's what
She's not known for her looks. That's I'm not saying.
no, yeah, she has a great. Yeah, she has a nice nose.
A nice rack too.
She does.
I appreciate the titties.
All right, Jerry, are you ready for your second question?
I will give it a shot. Let's do this.
Can a comic be too dirty, or can a comic be too clean?
That the beautiful part of being of comedy is it's subjective. What one person finds too dirty and too clean is, you know, is really open for interpretation. And it's just there are certain comedians, both male and female, that I find very humorous. That there are some who, when they try being extremely vulgar, more for shock value, and I just kind of relive those jokes in my head over and over again, trying to figure out, is that joke really funny, or was I just shocked that she said this or he said this? Andrew Dice Clay, when he first started back in the when he first got it big, when the HBO series or HBO showcase in the 80s, hadn't heard that forever, and it just shocked the hell out of you. But then you see him, you know, 30, 40 years trying to recreate that, and it's like, you know, it's kind of hit and miss for me lately. But you know, but back in the day, there was nobody better. But and as far as the too clean, there are some where it's like I just don't find a whole lot of that funny. I think they do need to. For me, they need to shade it a little bit. I mean, even Jim Gaffigan, for the most part, is a fairly clean comedian, but some of his better comics or comic bits, you know, they don't get vulgar, but they kind of skirt into, you know, a PG, you know, attitude, I guess. So.
Well, Wendy is a completely rated G comic, so I'd like to hear her opinion on this.
Okay, so for me, it's funny is funny. I don't care if it's clean or vulgar or anything in between. Funny is funny. I like someone like Nate Bargatze, who's I don't think ever said anything racy, is one of the funniest people I've ever seen. Jim Gaffigan, for the most part, is one of just funny without ever going blue. But that being said, I don't like when people put stipulations on comedy, because comedy is from your own perspective and how you are. You can do whatever you want within comedy. So like, it's funny because they're like, oh, must be clean, must be clean. I'm like, well, then you're limiting what comedy is about, which is an expression of our society and how we all each interpret it. So for me, who I am very blue, I don't try to be blue. I just am not somebody who's going to shade anything to appease a crowd because of something. By the way, if I ever got on TV and I had to be like not network instead of cable, of course, I'm going to do my bits that don't get too blue. But I'm also not going to veer from myself. So it's my point of view. It's how I see things. Yes, it does go blue, but I don't see it as going blue. I just see it as me expressing who I am and how I look at the world. Now, a friend of mine described it specifically. They go, Wendy, you make sex very simple. And because my jokes are a lot about sex and about relationships between people, I don't pull any punches. I don't make any kind of, what is the word where you don't say the thing that you want to say? You use a different word to.
Euphemism?
Yeah, I don't do euphemisms. You know what? I come right out and tell you the truth. And I come right out and say exactly what's going on. And that I don't do it for shock. I do it because that is who I am. Because if you talk to me in person, that's exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be a euphemism queen.
But do you get overly graphic on a lot of
It's not
things?
overly graphic. I am telling something specific to what's going on. It could get graphic, but I don't do it on purpose. I do it because that's what that story or that joke calls for, is me coming right out and saying exactly what's happening. And so, and yes, because of that, I don't have any walls, and I come right out and say it. Vincent knows. He see me. Laura knows too. See me. And it's not like I'm trying to be vulgar. I am not. I'm just being genuine. And I just say it. And it just happens that I am not going to shade anything, because no one's going to put baby in the corner.
But that's fantastic. You know, I think being genuine is key to any of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you expect other people to buy it, you better buy into it first, foremost.
Yeah. And I do. And I think that's why people respond the way they do to me and my act. Like, I was on stage in Milwaukee and I did a whole bit where I was just telling it, and it was, everybody was laughing. And then there was a moment where there's quiet and somebody in the back goes, wow, like that. And I immediately went like, I don't care what you think. I'm just being who I want to be. I'm just being my true self, and I'm telling it like it is. And I got an applause break, because everybody was like, she is exactly who she is on stage. And she is not holding back. And they appreciated that, because I think for the most part, people that don't do stand-up do a version of themselves out in the world, what they think other people think they should be, how they should act, especially at work or when they're walking down the street or if they go anywhere. They do a version of themselves and they can't truly be themselves. Whereas when I go on stage, I am 100% myself, and I don't hold anything back, and I don't ever want to. And so that's why people appreciate it. So that was one of the highlights of my life, was like coming back and go, I don't care if you have a problem with it. I am 100% happy with who I am, and I embrace all the shit that happens to me and all who I am. And so, yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
What a tremendous freedom that is. Good for you.
Yeah. Laura.
I don't think people can be, in general, I sort of echo some of what Wendy said. Like, I think people speak in their voice. I think that they reflect the part of the culture they connect with, whether that's how they were raised or where they live now and how they see it and the words they use. So when it comes to like language and stuff like that, if you're around swearers, you might, you grew up with swearers, you might be a swearer, you might go in the opposite direction. I think it is a matter of taste. And I think that I can recognize that somebody's funny and they're not my taste. Right. I may not even agree with them, but I still might, if somebody gets a shot, I'm like, that was a good one. I'm sorry that I hate that person and that they were funny, but that's me. That has to do with me. I think, I don't know. I don't think too clean. I've never seen a comic that I felt was too clean, because I feel like every comedian is, even if they're going the opposite direction or they're doing prop comedy, they're tapping into a darkness. So it's just like, how dark are they? And for myself, I think I can be blue. I think that I lived, I had dark experiences in my life, and I don't have other experiences to draw from. And for whatever reason, my life often is what informs my jokes. I try to, so it's like Wendy. So I can't change the experiences I had. I have very different experiences now. And so a lot of times I make jokes about what it looks like now versus what it looked like before, and like what happened, and like how I still sort of see things, or then I try to see things the way I see them now, that kind of stuff. But like, where I think, what I think is the responsibility of the comic is, if you take a gig that it has to be super blue or super clean, and you're not that way, like, I do think that it is respectful of the venue, the audience, the booker, right? The booker, probably the first, the booker, and then, or whoever gets you the gig, to try to show up and do what you committed to do. And
There's been shows that I've turned down because they said super clean, and at that time I didn't have 5 minutes super clean. I now have problem though if I needed to, but there's definitely been time where I'm like, that's out of my wheelhouse. I would not want to put that pressure on myself or you in case I might do something.
I think roasting's like that. Not everybody wants to roast. Not everybody wants to stand across from a stranger and mock them.
Right.
And some people are like, I have no problem with that, so I may not do a roast show if I've seen it and I feel like the tone is not in a way that I could do it, other people enjoy that.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Moving on.
Did we lose it?
Oh, did you answer? Did you froze?
Did I answer? No, I didn't answer.
Oh, are you not?
Yes, no, and maybe. I don't know. That's my answer. I'm the host. I don't have to answer.
All right, right on. Are you asking questions? It's the point of this show because you're trying to figure things out in your life and we're helping you, because I love that.
This is my therapy. This is my weekly therapy. All right, Wendy, are you ready for your second question?
Shoot it at me, baby.
Which body part do you wish you could detach and why?
The obvious one would be my butt, because I talk so much about it in my act, about how growing up with a big ass as a girl in the 80s was not preferable, and having to have a good chunk of my life being tortured for having a big butt. And now it's like all the rage, it's like, ooh, but I've like, honestly, I've had body parts taken out of me because they've been diseased. And so I've had close to 7 different operations on different body parts for things to be taken out, because my body loves to make things other than babies. So I have this stuff, but the one thing I would love to get rid of is all my crazy moles. I know as humans, we all have them, but it's just such a weird thing on skin. I have blonde ones. I don't know if you could see. There's a blonde one there. There's a blonde one there. I have them on my cheeks, the blonde ones. And blonde ones just look like you have this big old zit, so then you have to go through life with these blonde moles. So I would like to get rid of my moles. How's that?
Okay.
That would be good.
Yuck. Who's next?
I would like to detach my ears every night before I go to bed and then reattach them when I wake up.
Oh, you just can't sleep because of the noise, huh?
Oh, that's a good.
The cat bothers me. My wife will snore. I'm sorry, but my wife.
Get your own room.
Yeah. It's called the living room when she snores. So,
Oh.
but yeah, if I could detach my ears every night when I go to sleep, I would be a happy camper.
Jerry?
Well, I mean, my chins, my guts, my titties, I'm getting down to, eliminating about 40% body fat would be great. But I don't know, maybe similar to most, maybe the skin tags, because the skin tags just tell me how old I am. I just add them up, times 3, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm 55 this year. I'm trying to paint a lovely picture for everybody, but yeah, obviously a few pounds would be great. That's about it.
You do realize 55 is not divisible by 3.
No, not yet. But my skin tags are. When you 165, we're good there.
Laura?
This has been a horrifyingly gross. I think so. I would change my boobs. I would like to get bigger boobs, nicer boobs, breasts, whatever you want to call them. Not to be. I hate to be. I'd like to march to the beat of a different drummer, but I just can't. And in that way. Also, I think my nose, I would like to be able to detach and reattach it without having to get surgery because I have a deviated septum. And so those are some major things I think I'd like to change about myself. And then I would like to also be able to detach my arm when I'm spooning like that, or like during certain times. When you said that, I'm like, from a functional standpoint, you know how you're like laying and then you're like, or your partner's on your arm and you're like, oh my God, it's going numb. Yeah. So that also, just to be able, like, if I couldn't, I would like to be able to take my arm on and off for spooning, you know? And, yeah.
You need to date amputees. That could work out well for you.
Okay, we need to get rolling and finish this up. Laura, are you ready for the final question?
Yes.
Drum roll.
Oh.
If you could be in any movie that has been made, what would it be?
Oh, man. Any movie that's been made, what would it be? God, I'd like to be in my favorite movies, but I don't want to ruin them, you know. Zoolander might be my favorite movie. I wouldn't mind being in Zoolander. God, I can't really think of, like, can I be in a series? I'd rather be in the original Law and Order. I know that's not on the table, but you know what? I would like to also write. Like, that's still my dream, to write for Law and Order, and it's not even work. They're not even doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. So Zoolander's my favorite. I'd like to be in a Spike Lee movie too. Maybe School Days, which would be interesting. I'd be the only white person in School Days, so that's good to get something thrown at me. But that's one of my favorite movies. So yeah, I wouldn't mind being in one of those, or in Law and Order, or one of the Fly Girls. If I could go back in time, I would like to be in J-Lo's dance troupe opening up for Living Color, or In Living Color. Living. Which one's the band and which one's the show?
The show is Living Color and the band is In Living Color. No, switch that. The band is Living Color and the show is In Living Color. Yeah.
So I know you didn't ask about television, but I have to be true to myself.
It works.
Thank you.
I would have loved to have been in the party scene in the movie The Towering Inferno.
Oh yeah,
where everybody's stuck up there and they need to get rescued, and then at the end all the water gushes down. So I'd have to be a guy because I'd want to be there for when the water all gushes down and stuff. And in that same vein, I wanted to be one of the people who are stuck in the water at the end of the Titanic, who are getting who are like freezing in the water. Like, I would have loved to just bobbed around and been one of the extras during that scene. That would have been great. And for TV show, I would have loved to also been on and wrote for the TV show St. Elsewhere, because that's that like shaped me. I just had to write this essay for a writing fellowship, and they're like, what is the TV show that has influenced you the most? And I had to write a whole essay about St. Elsewhere, and I'm
gonna watch that again now.
It's such a great show. Such a great show.
Jerry?
For me, I would say Animal House. Because that whole fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life. But I've kind of shaped that into a pretty good career, so I'll take that.
I would take Brando's spot in Guys and Dolls and be Sky Masterson.
Awesome.
That's what I would do. But we need to wrap this up. I cannot be Marlon Brando. I cannot be Sky Masterson. I can't sing. But hey, I can host a show. So thank you once again for our guest. Big hand for Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Big hand for Wendy. And finally, the biggest hand for Laura, who so graciously stepped in. Now she has to step out for another commitment. But anyway, remember all of our social media stuff, and we will see you next week for episode 18.
Thank you. This was really fun.
Thank you so much.
I had a great time.